Hello everyone, it's Tracy. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks very much for joining me. Today I'm doing the assembly tutorial for the inkpad storage holders. They have been designed by Nicole Silhouette here on YouTube, and I shall link her YouTube channel in the description box below. The inkpad storage holders are only available as a digital cutting file in Nicole's Etsy store. They are not available as a cutting die set. Both sizes of the inkpad storage holders will be covered in this tutorial, and first up I will be doing the larger holder for the full-size inkpads. I have all my pieces cut out. We'll get started and I'll go through them with you now. Here are the pieces for the inkpad storage holder, the large one. I've got 5 of these, which are the trays that hold the inkpads, and you can see where I've gone ahead and put the double-sided tape on the glue tabs. These larger top ones will fold down for strength, as I'm showing. And there's another piece that goes inside, and this is a strengthening piece. It's to make these holders strong. So as I said, we've got 5 of these. Each of the storage holders have 5 tiers that hold 5 ink pads. Then we have the inserts that go inside the trays and the decorative panels. I'll talk a bit more about those later. Next up, I'm going to talk about the 2 pieces that make up the top and the bottom of the inkpad storage holder. Both the pieces are the same, and they'll go in place at the top and the bottom. They fold in half like so, and the bottom side angles in a little bit on each side and is also a little bit shorter at the top. And the piece folds and sticks to the underneath side like so. So the shorter part is the underside and the longer part is the top side. And there are 2 of those pieces. There's this piece which is a layering piece for the bottom. Next up I'm going to talk about this large piece here, and it's the main piece of the inkpad storage holder, and you can see where I've gone ahead and put double-sided tape on both sides of those glue tabs at the top and the bottom. You can also see some score lines here. I have gone ahead and darkened them in with a pencil just so they're easier to see on the tutorial, and there are holes there in between those score lines. Those holes are for alignment for later on. So you can see I've gone ahead and done the right hand side. I've put the tape over those holes, and I've also put the decorative panels in place. So in between those score lines where I'm indicating here, I'm going to put the tape. The tape's basically going to go over those holes, and you need to keep the tape between the score lines, the ones that I have darkened in with a pencil. So you can see I'm just working my way here, and I'm just going to cut the tape. I'm going to line it up with the score line, and I'm not going to go over the score line. Now if your tape's not wide enough, you can use 2 strips of tape so that it fits. You want to cover that whole area between the score lines with tape. The holes will be used later for aligning the trays into the storage holder. They are alignment holes only. They're not really holes for brads. I would not be joining the trays onto the sides here with brads. I just don't think it would be secure enough. So I'm just getting this last one into place, and then I'm going to get a thinner width tape, and I'm going to just make sure I've got the whole area between those score lines filled with tape. The double-sided tape I'm using is, I think, just under 1 inch in width, so I'm just coming along here with some 1/8 of an inch, just to make sure that the area between the 2 score lines is completely covered with double-sided tape. So I'm just getting that tape into place and before moving on. Now that that's done, I'm going to do the decorative panels. This is the ideal time to do the decorative panels. I wouldn't do them any other time, because whilst it's flat you can get them glued down into place. It would be too difficult once you've got the trays in place. So now's the perfect time to do that. So I'm just going to use my glue, and I'm using art glitter glue to stick my decorative panels into place so that it looks the same as the other side. All of the decorative panels that you need for this project are included in the digital cutting file. And you can use what you want to use or not use them all, it's entirely up to you. So I'm just working my way here, gluing these panels into place. It's very easy to see where each of the panels go. It's only the top and bottom one that are different in shape, the others are all the same. They're all the same size and same width. Just take your time, make sure you're lining them up nicely before pressing them down into place. And then that left side will look exactly like the right hand side, and the right hand side is done in exactly the same way. And I'm going to put that aside to dry and move on with making the little trays that hold the ink pads. So I have the pieces here. I'm only going to put one together in the tutorial because they all go together in the same way. So to begin with, I'm going to remove the backings off these smaller glue tabs and just join the sides up. They're not that difficult to put together. And as I said, they all go together in the same way. So just working my way around and joining the sides up. Then I'm going to move these top tabs out the way so that I can show you. We fold down these long sides first, they will cover the glue tabs. Fold that down and against itself on the underneath side. I'm doing the long sides first and then changing over to the short ends because the long sides will cover the glue tabs. Just doing the short ends now, folding them down. And you can see our tray is coming together. Next up we have this strengthening piece that will go in, and you can either put it in now as I'm showing here, or you can glue it in before you fold down those top tabs that cover the glue tabs that join the sides together. I actually did find it easier to glue it into position before this point. So before you fold down those top glue tabs, I would stick this in then. But it's up to you. So next up we have this liner piece that will go in. Again, this is another piece that is going to add strength to make your tray that holds your ink pads nice and sturdy. The best way to put this in, I didn't find out until after I did it this way, is to just glue the bottom in first. But you'll see me here put the glue on all of the glue tabs around all the sides. It's just messy to do it that way, and I found I had glue everywhere, and you'll see me with glue all over my fingers. So I would recommend just putting glue on the bottom first, get the bottom glued down, then pull back the sides, put the glue and then press them into place. And I do actually show that in the tutorial for the smaller one. It just goes in a lot better as well, and it's less messy. You need to make sure that all your glue gets a good stick, and you can see I'm giving all of this a really good burnish. This is going to make sure that that liner stays in place. So you can see it's coming along now. Just adding some glue here. It wasn't quite stuck in that spot. So just making sure this is all getting a nice good hold of the glue, because you want this tray to be nice and sturdy for your ink pads. So next up I have the liner piece, and I'm going to put that on the front of the tray, and again making sure that the glue gets a good stick. So also what you'll need to do on these sides of your trays where the holes are, those alignment holes, is colour them in with a reasonably dark marker. This is extremely helpful when you want to put your ink pad holder together, and I'll go through that with you a little bit later on. So I've gone ahead and finished all of my little trays here, including having the alignment holes darkened with a marker. And I've done that on all of them. So I've got my 5 little trays here, and next up we're going to bring in this piece again, and this is the correct orientation with those diagonal lines going that way. This is incorrect. The tape and the decorative panels angled downwards. So now I'm going to remove the backings of the tape here to reveal these alignment holes on the side of the storage holder, and I'm going to take the tray and use the alignment holes on the tray and line them up with the holes on the side of the storage holder. And this is where you will see how handy it is to colour those alignment holes in on the trays. So I'm just working out here the best way that I can angle this so I can see properly to align these both up. And I've decided that this is going to work better for me from the side. So I'm just getting into position here, working out the best way. And looking from the side is going to work easier for me. And looking through the hole here on the side, I can see through to the coloured in alignment hole that's on the tray. And it's very easy for me to see. And I can press that one into place. Next up, I'll take the backings off the next one down. Make sure the front of your tray is facing outwards. You don't want to stick your tray on back to front. Try not to get tempted to take all of the backings off the adhesive at once. You only want to work on one side at a time, and you can see we're doing the left hand side here. So try not to take all of the backings off all of the ones on this left hand side. You don't want things stuck before you're ready for it. Double-sided tape's not as forgiving as what glue is. You can use glue if you like. I just found it easier for the tutorial to use double-sided tape. So I'm just taking my time here, making sure these are lining up nicely and then pressing them into place. And I'm just getting this last one on this side lined up and then pressing it into place. So that's the left hand side done, and it's time now to do the right hand side. Again, just working one tray at a time. Don't get tempted to take all of the backings off. You don't want things stuck before you're ready. So I'm lining up the alignment holes on the side of the storage holder with the holes that are on the trays. And again, this is where the colouring in with the marker of those holes on the side of the trays is invaluable, because it's just so much easier to see. It does get a little bit tight here, and I'm having to use my pokey tool to take the backings off the adhesive. If you don't have a pokey tool, you can use the blade of your craft knife or even a small pair of tweezers. The tweezers that have the pointy ends. So I'm just getting that backing off the adhesive and lining up the alignment holes. Things were not quite lining up that time, so I had to pull it apart and try again. And just getting that last one into place before pressing it down. You can see this is starting to come together, and I'm just giving everything a good burnish with my burnishing tool. I'm now going to put the little decorative panels on the sides of these little trays that are out over the edge. This can be done at any time, I just chose to do it now. And they fit exactly in that spot there. Just get the other side done. Very easy to line up. And that finishes off the sides of the ink pad storage holder just nicely. And then we're going to put the top and the bottom into place. And this is where these pieces come into play. Remembering that it's angled in on the underneath side. So that's the side you won't see. And I found the easiest way to put this in place is to fold the glue tabs out, remove the backings from the glue tabs on the underneath side, because remembering there's double-sided tape on both sides. Then I'm going to remove the backings off the inside edge of this piece. I'm going to have the double-sided tape facing up towards the camera, and I'm going to position it like so, and then press those glue tabs down onto that piece. Then I'm going to remove the backings off the other side of the glue tabs here, the top side, and fold that top piece down. This fits perfectly. And then I'm going to take my metal ruler and get into that area. It's a little bit narrow here, so you can't fit in the bone folder or your finger or anything like that, so the metal ruler I found quite handy. Any sort of ruler would work. And that's our bottom in place. Then there's this panel here. I think that Nicole has designed for it to go inside like so, but it's a very small area here. It's difficult to get in with your fingers. So what I decided to do was to just put that in on the bottom, just glue it to the bottom directly. It's to give the whole thing some strength. So it doesn't really matter if you glue it to the inside edge or the outside edge. It's entirely up to you. It was just easier for me to put this on the outside edge. And just pressing that down into place. So then we have the top piece to go on. I'm going to remove the backings on the inside edge of the top piece, and also the underneath side of the glue tabs on the storage holder. Then I'm going to slide it in so that the adhesive is facing up. Get a grab with that glue tab, the long glue tab, and then tuck the sides down. Just making sure that it's straight. And with the top part of it, you can stick your hand in to press it down. There's enough room in there to press down those glue tabs. Then I'm going to take the backings off the top side of those glue tabs to shut down the top. And again, that fits perfectly. And there's enough room here to put your hand in to press it down. And I've cut my decorative panel from that bluey colour, and I'm going to put that into position on the underneath side. This does fit in, even though it may seem like it's too big, it does. You just need to push it past the top of the tray that's in there. So I'm just manoeuvring that now to make sure I can get it past the edge of the tray at the back. And then I'm going to stick it into place. So it may stop at about this point, but you just need to manoeuvre it so that it goes past the top of the back of the tray at the back there. And then I'm just going to press that into place. Putting the top and the bottom onto your ink pad holder is the most trickiest part of this, I think. But once you get that done, it's almost finished. All that's left to do now is to put the decorative panels into place on the sides, the back and the top. And that's what I've got here now. And like the double-sided tape holder that I made previously, this is another ideal opportunity for you to use your more busier papers that are in your stash. So papers that you wouldn't normally reach for because they might be too busy for the project that you're working on would be ideal for this sort of thing. Because of the functionality of what you're creating here, it's going to hold ink pads. You may or may not want to put a lot of embellishments on it. So again, it's ideal for your more busier papers. So I'm just getting this last panel in place. And you can even see that I've kind of lined up the design. This is paper that I've had in my stash for a long time. I'm actually trying to shop my stash at the moment. I've got a lot of decorative papers and I really need to start using them. But I guess we all say that, don't we? So I'm just making sure that they're all getting a good stick, and I'm going along with my burnishing tool, giving everything a good burnish. Making sure that everything's getting a good stick. And that's our ink pad holder finished, and it really is quite sturdy and strong. So I've got my ink pads here. These are Lawn Fawn. I've got Hero Arts and another Lawn Fawn. They're the full-size ink pads, and that's what fits into this holder. And you can quite easily maneuver them in and out, as I'm showing here. There is a notch out on the front of the trays, which assists in being able to get your fingers in to get the ink pads out. I do have some other full-size ink pads in my stash, and I will show you that they fit in too. I've got my Memento Tuxedo Black. This Unicorn White Pigment ink from Hero Arts fits in too, and my Stays On. Also the VersaFine and the VersaMark fit in too. And it's easy to get them in and out. I also have quite a lot of the Ultranew full-size ink pads. They fit as well. A little bit more roomier with the Ultranew because of the shape of the ink pads, but they fit nonetheless. And it's easy to get them in and out, as I'm showing here. That's the full-size ink pad holder completed, and we're going to move on now to the smaller size ink pad holder for the Distress and the Distress Oxide ink pads. I've got all the pieces cut out, and I'll go through them with you now. The pieces are pretty much the same, they're just a different size for the Distress Oxide and the Distress ink pads. We've got the 5 pieces here that make up the trays and the strengthening piece. We've got the inserts, the decorative panels, the top and the bottom, again with the angled piece that folds up. And there are 2 of those. And we've got this main piece here, and you can see I've gone ahead and put the double-sided tape where it needs to be, on the glue tabs at the top and bottom on both sides, and also covering these alignment holes, as I'm showing. This part of the tutorial will go quite quickly. I have sped the footage up, and that is because it's exactly the same as what I did for the larger one. So I'm just sticking these decorative panels in place in between where the double-sided tape is. And the double-sided tape, it has been placed in between the score lines that your machine will cut into the piece. You can go ahead and darken that with a pencil if you like, so that it's easier to see. And again, these diagonal decorative panels and the diagonal tape areas, the diagonals face downwards. I'll put that aside to dry, and I'm going to put together one of the trays. So I'm just going to remove the backings off the smaller glue tabs and join the sides together, the same as before. And this is where I put in that strengthening piece. I put it in before I fold down the top glue tabs. And then once that piece is in place, I'm going to fold down the tops of those glue tabs. Stick them down against the back of themselves. Then I'm going to go ahead and put these inserts in place, and I'm only putting glue on the bottom this time. You're able to position it a lot easier. Then I'm going to fold down the side, put glue on, and press it against the side of the tray. And that's what worked best for me. Making sure the glue gets a good stick, and then I'm going to put the decorative panel onto the front. And make sure that that's got a good stick too. So I went ahead and did all of the trays, and now it's time to stick them to this main piece. Before I do that though, I am going to colour in these alignment holes. This does make such a big difference in assisting with lining it up. Getting all of those alignment holes coloured in before I move on. Then I'm going to take the backings off the adhesive here. Make sure the front is facing the front, and then using the alignment holes on the side of the storage holder with the holes on the side of the tray, you can line it up and make sure it's in the right position. Again, don't be tempted to take all of the backings off here. You don't want things to stick before you are ready. Just work on one tray at a time, and take your time and make sure things are lined up as precisely as you can. You don't want your ink pad holder to be wonky. Again, just working on the one side, so all the ones here on the left, make sure they get stuck in place. And then we'll close up the right side. Again, only working on one tray at a time, and taking care to line up the alignment holes on the side of the storage holder to the holes on the side of the tray. You can see I had to peel that one back and try again. Then I'm going to press it down with my burnishing tool. Just working my way down. It does get a little bit tight as I get closer to the end, and I'm using my pokey tool to assist with removing the backings of the adhesive. You can use the blade of your craft knife or a fine pointed pair of tweezers. Just getting those last trays lined up and stuck down. You do have to be careful with double-sided tape because it will grab before you want it to. And using glue here would give you the wriggle room to maneuver it, but then it might get a little bit messy. So I'm just giving you a look there of the trays in place, and then I'm going to go along with my burnishing tool, give everything a good press down, because you don't want things to fall apart. So I've got my top and bottom, then I'm going to put those in place, and this is going to go in place the same way as the other one. I'm going to fold the glue tabs outwards, take the backings off the underneath side, and take the backings off this piece here. Then I'm going to have the adhesive facing up towards the camera, and I'm going to line this up against this edge. And attach that longer glue tab down onto it, and then the sides. Then I'll take the backings off the top side here and fold the top down onto that adhesive, and it fits perfectly. Again, you are restricted with room here, so this is where I'm going to bring the ruler in and press that down to make sure that that's getting a good stick. And I'll do the same with the top. I'm going to fold those glue tabs outwards, take the backings off the underneath side, take the backings off the tape on this underneath side of that top piece, have the adhesive facing up, just trying to maneuver that into position, and then fold that side longer glue tab down first, followed by the two side glue tabs. Then I'll take the backings off the top side of the glue tabs and fold that top down onto the exposed adhesive. Then get my hands in on the inside to press all that down. Then I've got the layering pieces. Again, this could go inside if you wanted it to, and I'm pretty sure Nicole designed it that way. It's just a little tricky to get in there, that's all. So I've just changed it up a little bit, and I'm going to stick it on the outside. It's a strengthening piece, so it doesn't matter if it goes on the in or the outside. And then I've got that piece for the inside at the top, which I've cut from the bluey paper. It's sort of a bluey teal colour. It's actually called Surfer. It's a Kaisercraft card colour. Again, this goes in the top. It may get stuck, but it's only getting stuck on the back of the tray, so you just need to push past that. And it's time now to put the decorative panels in place. And I'm going to do that now, and I'm using the same paper as I did for the larger one. I wanted my 2 ink pad holders to match. And you can see that the pattern has lined up too on the sides. So making sure that's all getting a good stick. Then I'm going to stick the top piece on, and you can see I've still got the other little decorative panels that go on the sides of the trays. Again, you could do that at any time. In the other one I did it before, now I'm doing it at the very end. It doesn't matter, whichever way you'd like. Just getting them into place along one side and then do the other side. It's very easy to see where these go. They only fit the one way on each side. And that's that ink pad storage holder completed. And this does fit in the Distress Oxide and the Distress ink pads. And I've got some here. I've got the Distress Oxides, I don't have the other ones. And 5 of them fit in there just nicely, and you can get your finger in to get them in and out quite easily, as I'm showing here. And I believe it holds the Nicolespapercrafts pigment ink pads too. So that's my tutorial finished for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching and that you feel inspired to make one of these ink pad storage holders, either in the large normal ink pad size or the Distress Oxide or the Distress ink pad size. If you do make one, don't forget to share it on Nicole's Facebook group, or you can share on Instagram and tag her. Her Instagram handle is @Nicolespapercrafts. I too would love to see what you're making, so you can tag me on Instagram if you like. My Instagram handle is @TFsPapercrafts. Don't forget to check the description box down below for the links that I have previously mentioned. And if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, I would really love that too. Thanks very much for watching today. Have a great day, and until next time, it's bye for now.